Hey internets, it's Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, and this is Dawnbringers, Heart of Nightfang Spire, Season 4, Episode 6, Home, Be It Ever So Dismal. In just a few moments, we are going to get you caught up to speed on where we left off after last week's session. We're also going to just go through our announcements and stall while we wait for our friend V, aka Cantriel, to show up. In the meantime, playing the part of Cantriel, it's Jeremy. V had no say in that. So welcome everybody to our regular Thursday night Dungeons and Dragons game. It is so good to be back here with all of you once again. I'm going to do a couple of super quick announcements as we tell you about some of the usual wonderful things that we have going on. First and foremost, because I'm trying to remember to do this more often, if you want to know what other streaming games are going on here on the channel, you can just type in !schedule in the chat, and our full schedule will show up right there, so you can see what other games you want to tune in for throughout the week. If you look over in the lower left-hand corner of our overlay, you're going to see some of our amazing partners. First and foremost amongst them is, of course, Jasper's Game Day. Jasper's Game Day is an incredible organization, a charity organization started here in my home state of Michigan by the amazing Fenway the Teen DM. This organization is dedicated to raising awareness and the prevention of suicide through tabletop gaming. All of the money that comes in through Jasper's Game Day is almost immediately turned into checks that are written to the National Suicide Lifeline, the Teen Suicide Lifeline, and various other programs, such as a lot of times money will be donated to the American Association of Suicidology, who then filters that money to crisis centers around the country. So know that when you give through that link, when you type in Jasper in the chat, that money is going for a tremendous cause. If you'd like to give in a different way and get a little something for yourself, you can try going to Initiative Coffee Companies and checking out their help action. The link is provided right there. We also have banners for these things down below here on Twitch. But you can click on that link and get yourself some minted roast coffee. And for every 12-ounce bag of that delicious coffee, you get $3 of your purchase price will go to benefit Jasper's Game Day. Over in the lower right-hand corner, you will see the D&D Beyond logo. D&D Beyond has granted Mini Terrain Domain insider access, allowing us to have this amazing overlay on the Twitch stream so that you can see what is going on. Is everything there on the... I'm doing a technical thing right now. I'm just checking something. I looked down at the preview of the stream and it looks like we are not live, but nobody's complaining in chat, so we must be there. Okay, sorry, pay no attention to the curtain behind the man. Back to what I was saying. Yeah, you can mouse over the stream and you can see this amazing D&D Beyond overlay pop up. Shows all of the characters. You can click through, see their characters. And I can use some of their awesome tools like running the modules and the encounters and all that great stuff. If you look over just above the Jasper's Game Day logo, down where our friend Yes Ferratu is chilling by the window there, you will see a new-ish logo, the Talon and Claw logo. Talon and Claw is now sponsoring Mini Terrain Domain. You'll definitely want to check out Talon and Claw's stuff. It's absolutely incredible. They make quality wooden gaming accessories like DM screens, dice vaults, trays. They've got these incredible solid wood siege DM screens, dice vaults. They have an amazing new series of vaults they're doing that are called Pride Vaults. And you can actually check out all of the different representations for whatever your source of pride may be. I believe they've got them just about all covered there. And they've partnered with some dice companies and done some really cool stuff with that. But if you click on that link to go to their Etsy store and you use the code MTDClaw when you purchase something there, you'll get 10% off your order. Tell them Mini Terrain Domain sent you. So be sure to check that out. Of course, as always, it wouldn't be a Dawnbringers game if we didn't tell you to look up above. Well, usually Drown and Cantriel's head. It's still Cantriel, but Dwarf Cantriel's head. You'll see the plus 125 and that red die hanging out up there. That is our domain dice. That is our way that lets you, the viewer, participate in the stream. All you got to do is subscribe, resubscribe, cheer 500 bits, or tip $5 to the stream, and they will earn a domain die that they can use for re-rolling all the way up through the amazing 5 domain dice, which can turn any hit into a super crit, which was how Thorgarn ended the Mooncalf, spending 10 domain dice to get 2 super crits on there. Jeremy is showing off his hammer die shirt. Did you know that you also can get the Talmud improvised ham or die shirt simply by typing !merch? You can check out the merch store here on through Stream Elements, and you can get yourself a Dawnbringer shirt. You can get a hammer die shirt, Mini Terrain Domain, all that good stuff. All right, the last you can take it, Dan. I just looked up at the wrong time. Our side chat. If you don't use side chat in your own games, I highly recommend it. So the last thing that I want to talk about real quick is one of the most important things that we talk about before we run any of these games, and that is this: you matter. No matter where you are, no matter how you're feeling right now, and whether or not you believe it, you matter. Your presence here on our earth makes a difference. It can be hard to acknowledge that, and it can be especially hard to acknowledge that on your own. But you don't have to. You don't have to do it on your own. There are a ton of amazing resources available, and people that are waiting to talk to you, trained professionals that are waiting to talk to you. So you can come here to Mini Terrain Domain anytime, whether we're on air or off air, doesn't matter. Come to our chat, type in !help, and a series of phone numbers and a website link will pop up. I'm going to read that first number, but you can see the others. They're also going by on the stream here. And you can access those, as I said, anytime. But if you do need help, you can call the National Suicide Lifeline at 1-800-273-TALK. That's 1-800-273-8255, or text 741-741. If you are in the active duty military, or if you are a veteran, you can press the number 1 after dialing that number, and a military specialized counselor will be waiting to talk to you. So, I think that's it for our announcements. It's time to play Dungeons and Dawnbringers. I mean, Dungeons and Dragons. All right. The Dawnbringers, you have made it through the magical gateway from the Feywild to where in the world you don't exactly know, but you came out in a cave, you fought a Bahir, you fought a Roper, you fought some Piercers, you entered into this deep defile, this deep canyon with a single spire at the far end. After a bit of fumbling around, and quite a bit of magic, there was some teleportation through through Dimension Door, there were a couple of people transformed into ravens and giant eagles. And then there was a thing called a moon calf, because that's what you call a giant brain with tentacles and bat wings, that proceeded to call lightning down upon you, pick several of you up with its tentacles and attempt to fling you off the tower. But eventually Drown was able to grapple it down to the surface of the tower. And then Thorgarn, as I imagined both forks of lightning and heavy metal music blared behind him, leapt off, crashing down into this thing, driving his weapons right through it and destroying it, but not before it screamed a warning that though it failed to guard the gateway, Gulthias knew you were here and has prepared for you. You found the carcass of a dragon, a black dragon, dead for at least several weeks, and a bit of remnants of treasure that it had, that you claimed for your own. You also found a hole that appeared as though the dragon in its living times may have melted its way into the tower, digging its way through the spire and wreaking havoc, which you were able to see some remnants of that destruction as you descended into this hole after a short rest and began exploring. You found the shattered remains of some sort of vault or altar to what appeared to be some sort of dragon. Given all of the information you have to date, it's a fair assumption that it was a shrine to a Chardalon. And while investigating the treasure chest that was suspiciously in the middle of this room, in a low-hanging mist, you were able to open the chest, get some of its contents, or get all of its contents out, and then the mist coalesced behind three of you into the form of vampire spawn. And that was where we ended the session. And that is why, for the third time in a row, we are going to start this session off with a roll for initiative. And I'm going to do a test roll here. I'm not counting this one. It's probably going to work great now that I'm doing it like this. I have these dice that I declared as Dawnbringers official dice, and they apparently will only work in favor of the Dawnbringers, so I'm reluctant to use them for my vampires. But let's see. I'm going to do... Alright. So that's...
My initiative rolls are on point, you know, nothing on the
single digits.
Above a 5, so we're good. I got a 6.
All right, Thorgarn, you got a 6. Somebody roll for Cantriel for me. I'm not sure what.
She has a bajillion, doesn't she?
I'll find out here in a second. Actually, I guess it would probably be in the overlay, huh?
Yeah, her bonus is like crazy, isn't it?
Cantriel has a plus. All right. Yeah, somebody roll. Tell me what you got for Cantriel. Anybody?
I think Jeremy should do it since he's playing Cantriel right now.
I got a 14.
Oh, so you can roll a 14 for yourself, or for Cantriel, but not for yourself.
Well, yeah, because it knows that it's for Cantriel.
Right.
Knows, you know, why. So.
Also, thank you to Cajun Kevin, who just resubscribed for 13 months. I owe you a domain die. Griveth, what you got?
I have an unimpressive 10.
Fig.
7.
Talmud.
Talmud also got a 10.
And Drown.
Drown is a 15.
All right. So that is going to put Cantriel at the top of the order. Who are you pointing at? No, he rolled a 14, but she has a +3 bonus.
Oh, sorry, I missed that part.
Because I didn't say it. But that does put Cantriel at the top of the order. There are 3 vampire spawn in here that are currently... One is engaged with Drown. One attempted to bite Griveth. Who did the third one attempt? Was that Thorgarn or Talmud?
I don't remember, but it failed at whatever it was trying to do.
It failed. Okay.
I don't recollect anything coming at me at the end of last session.
It might have been Cantriel.
Yeah, it might have been actually.
So
That sounds right.
Cantriel's
Drown is grappled.
Yeah, because you got bit.
Yep.
And it grappled you up. Or rather, it grappled you and then bit you.
Correct.
So Cantriel is too close to use her bow. Wait. Oh, that threw me off. Never mind. Okay. Does anybody remember what she has? Oh yeah, she's got a rapier. So Jeremy, since you're in the Cantriel seat, why don't you go ahead and roll me 2 attacks?
Okay. I don't have her bonuses.
To be a +8.
Okay. So the first, not very impressive with a 10. The second, a bit better with a 17.
That's with the +8?
Yes.
All right.
Thanks for putting that pressure on me, Jake.
So that will be, go ahead and roll a D8 +4 for the damage.
That's a 6 total.
All right.
She might have hunter's marked.
Yeah, I think you're right. She would have.
She typically does.
She typically hunter's marks. So
it's an extra 1 point. Yay!
All right. So that's. I thought I fixed this problem where my system was going nuts last week, but it's doing it again. Oh, you know what? Guess who is in the chat? 1 second. We're gonna make this the way it should be. Go wonky for a second. And there she is, and then Jeremy, and just like that. So no pressure, V, but we welcome.
Hi.
So I will allow a retcon on this, since it was the first action, but you're at the top of the order in initiative.
Okay.
You're engaged with one of the 3 vampire spawn.
Congratulations.
And I had you attack with your rapier and hunter's mark, but if you would have done something different, by all means, take control of your character.
Right on top of me, or
yeah, because the 3 of them had appeared behind the 3 of you.
Okay.
So
then it would definitely be. Let me just flip over to my sheet. It would definitely be with the rapier with the hunter's mark going, and stabby. I get 2 actions, so 2 stabs for that.
yeah, Jeremy did okay with that, but we'll figure we'll give you a chance to roll your own.
You want to run a roll? May you roll? Okay. Let me. Okay, that's a D8. Let's re-roll, and I'll use my funky new elven kind, because why not? Elf. Does a 19 hit?
The 19 does hit.
Okay, awesome. So then that is going to be 12 points. And the next one is going to be another 19. And that is going to be, in this case, 8 points.
All right, so you've done 20 points. Make sure you're separating your attacks out too. So the hunter's mark and is your rapier magical or
Rapier is not magical. So, first hunter's mark, that would have been 2 points. Second hunter's mark was 1.
So 3 points of hunter's mark damage.
I believe.
And then, so the other 17. Okay, got it. Perfect. Yeah, so you spin around as soon as these 3 vampire spawn appear and almost reflexively puncture it a couple of times. Drown, you were successfully grappled, and then it bit you. So you have one of these. This one is, all of them you can sort of, well, you're just sort of getting the scent of the your own blood mingling with the scent of rot and almost that really old mausoleum scent of old death. And there's this dampness as you can feel up against your neck, the long stringy hair of this vampire spawn as it's just bit into you. What would you like to do, Don? Drown? Drown of the Dawnbringers.
Drown of the Dawnbringer. All right. Let's see. Double check. Yeah, I didn't think so. Okay. I am grappled. I don't care for that particularly. I don't know that there's a whole lot I have for it at the moment. So, yeah. I think I am going to smash it with my staff.
All right.
Try and beat it away from me as best I can. Stuff that. There we go. All right. Oop. Table. That's gonna hit. That's a 25.
Yeah.
There'll be 1 hit with the staff, and that is going to do 10 points of magical bludgeoning damage.
That was 10.
And I'll smack it a second time. Yep, same's gonna hit again, and that is 9 points.
All right, 9 more points of magical bludgeoning damage.
And you know what? It's still got me grappled, so I'm actually going to expend a spell slot and channel an Eldritch Smite into that hit.
All right.
So that is going to deal a pile of extra force damage to it. In a second. $28 additional force damage.
Whoa. All right, yeah,
And
that's
that'll be my turn.
That's a incredibly powerful attack, more or less attacking over your shoulder as this thing is sort of kind of wrapped around, got its arms wrapped around you and digging its teeth into you.
One more thing, I can also knock it prone if it's huge or smaller, which I will do. Not that it'll have a huge effect, but it'll just look awesome.
Yeah, I think with all of that damage and that burst of Eldritch smiting, it just sort of goes sprawling off of you and kind of spins across the floor in the rubble a little bit. And then it is going to be, now it's the vampire spawn's turn. I'm going to go ahead and see if that helps. All right, I'm still dealing with this issue that's lagging my stream out, so I had to close a couple things.
I have a question.
Is it related to what
there-
we talked about?
Yeah, it was.
That's not in effect yet, because it's not your turn yet.
Wouldn't it be on their turn if they're in the radius?
Well, that was the thing we talked about.
Okay.
Because they came up behind you,
Okay.
your body is essentially casting a shadow and they're not fully affected yet.
All right.
But yeah, I haven't forgotten that. It's definitely going to come into play. But with this first round, at least until your turn and you move, they're deliberately not in that light. But there's not a whole lot they can do to run from it. So anyway, let's see. Going back to the sheet here, we are looking at the one on Cantriel. Is Cantriel, you already notice as it's standing in front of you that it looks at where you withdrew the rapier. Oops, went the wrong way with that. And you see where you've punctured it, and it's leaking a thick black blood. And you watch as it just smiles at you, and the wounds begin to heal. And then, still smiling at you, it is going to make an attack on you with its claws for a critical hit.
Which means that's a reroll.
I know, I just automatically pause after I hear that.
Because you do.
So, I'm going to leave that 20 up. I'll roll on this die. That... The fates give and the fates take away. That is a critical failure. Which, by my own rules, means that it will open itself up to an opportunity attack from you.
It's the second time that's happened, too.
Yeah. Yeah, so I imagine as it gives this cocky smile and it goes to swipe, it steps on some of its own blood and sort of slips and leans into you a little bit, opening itself up to that opportunity attack that you may take.
This is not how you ask for a dance. And yeah, I'll swing at him again. Obviously, it has to be rapier because... So that is going to be... Hold on. I'm so not used to using my rapier. Go back to the numerous. That's going to be a 15 to hit.
A 15 will hit.
Will hit. Okay. And then Hunter's Mark is 3 damage. And then other damage is 9.
All right. And you, once again, puncture it up a bit.
Stab it.
But it is still going to make its second attack at you. Trying a swipe with its claws again. This time, it seems to be held at length by your rapier. As it just, the claws swipe past your face. The one that you knocked prone, Drown, you hear as it fell to the ground, it sort of fell on its face, and then you hear this sort of sickening cracking of bones as it rotates its head 180 degrees and then sort of flips its upper torso around, and then as it rises up off the ground, its bones kind of snap back into the proper places. It's going to be right back in range with you, taking its claw attack for a 19, which will deal...
Oh my, yes, that hits.
That'll deal 9 points of slashing damage. Actually, you know what? I'm going to forego that. Instead of slashing you, it's going to try to grapple you again. Or it is going to grapple you again. And then it's going to try to bite you again. That is going to miss. It doesn't get a good hold on you. You're sort of able to hold it at bay. It missed by exactly the same amount as the last one. Griveth. The one that's on.
Oh yeah, sorry. Go
Oh,
ahead.
there's one more on you, and it is going to attempt to attack you again.
Before
That
it
is
attacks me, I'm going to do a sentinel attack on the one that attacked Drown.
okay. Yeah, that will work.
Since it missed. Oh, she. That was a crit.
All right.
Okay, I do 32 points of damage to it.
All right.
And that's with the Sunblade?
Yeah.
So that's all radiant all the time.
Yep.
Yep. And yeah. So as you swing around at it, at the one that attacked Drown, as this other one's coming up to get you, you did how much damage to it?
32.
32.
32.
Sorry, I spoke over you.
Oh, no problem.
You cut just a burning swath into it as it's clinging on Drown, and you cut into its side, but also you illuminate the one. The light changes in this room as the Sunblade comes around, and all three vampire spawn where they are begin to hiss, and you hear one of them, "It is the sun." And now, as the one attacks you, Griveth, it is at disadvantage because it is now in sunlight. And actually, it's starting its turn there, so it's also going to take 20 points of radiant damage as it's burning, and you smell the burning flesh, this already sort of damaged flesh, or undead flesh. At disadvantage, that's going to be a 16. As it attempts to swipe at you, and missing Griveth, and with that Sunblade, it hisses at you again, and you see these eyes that are pupilless, there's no whites, they're all black, and you see the Sunblade reflected, and its mouth opens. It kind of looks like Bilbo when he's in the Rivendell, and give it to me. And it is going to. Where'd the map go? Yeah, it's going to turn and run up the wall. It will provoke an opportunity attack from you.
Okay.
Wait, does Sentinel attack use your reaction?
Yes, it does, actually.
So you do not get an opportunity attack.
No.
But it does run up the wall.
But, oh, wait. But it does make its speed 0 if I hit.
The extra sentinel attack when somebody smacks your buddy, that's not an opportunity attack.
Oh, it's not?
It's just
That's
an
not
attack you can make as a reaction. It's very specifically not called an opportunity attack.
And,
oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
and
so I can still do an opportunity attack?
No, you used your reaction.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah.
So, and just as a reminder, the ceilings in here are 20 feet high. It, with its speed, it is able to basically just leap away from you onto the wall, and it's right up in that corner and sort of backed up. The sunlight's still on it because your radius is 20 feet on your light. So it's still there in the light, and it's just hissing from the ceiling at you. That was the third one. Griveth, it is now your actual turn.
Oh, it's not Talmud's?
No, you haven't taken your turn yet. Well, No. Sorry, you both had 10. You two decide amongst you how you're going to react.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Jeremy. Okay, so, I see all this happening before me, and I've never actually met or ran into vampires. We did run into the Golthias tree, and I was tainted by that. So are these things like actually spawned of that taint? Would I know that somehow because I was connected to the tree in that way?
I think we addressed this once before. You've sort of lost the direct connection that you would have innately. If you were to you would almost have to reach out with your what is it? Not primeval awareness. Your
my
thing.
my divine sense. Yeah.
Yeah. You'd have to use an action to do that to see if there's any connection, because you had the cleansing ritual that sort of separated you from that.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yep.
Never seeing vampires before, but realizing what we're after and that the tree has this vampiric origin, I kind of realized that these are vampires. Seeing the one who's trying to drown right next to me. So I am going to. So we got the one that leapt back. We got the one that missed drown but is still by drown, and we got the one by Cantriel, right?
The one that missed drown is still grappling him. It just failed on his. It failed on its bite. There's one on Cantriel, and there's one 20 feet up by the ceiling.
Yeah. Well, we can't have this guy trying to drown Drain, so I am going to go ahead and attack him.
Trying to drown Drain?
We can't drown the Drain.
We've called him Drain. We've called him Dawn.
We don't want him to go down the drain. The drown. Jeez. Okay. So I can attack it without hitting ground, right?
Yes.
Okay, and would I attack with advantage?
Asking
for a friend.
I mean, I don't think there's really there's nothing mechanically that gives you advantage.
Okay.
It has disadvantage because of the sunlight.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, I see. All right, here goes. I am going to hit it real good. Okay, that is a 23 to hit.
That will be a hit.
Okay, let's do some damage here. That is 20 damage.
All right, another searing slash with the sunblade across this vampire spawn. And this thing is looking in bad shape.
Okay, I need to do it also does extra damage to undead, so I need to do some more damage. Sorry about that. Does 4 more damage.
All right.
And then the second attack. Get off him! Get off! That's a 29 to hit. Shoo.
Yeah.
And let me roll that extra damage. All day. Oh, not so good. 17 damage total.
With this next slice, there's shadows are shifting all around this room as you're swinging the Dawnbringer, hacking at this thing, probably dangerously close to Drown's face. And as this thing reels after the first hit, you hear it in your ear, Drown, as it opens its mouth impossibly wide. The fangs seem to grow a couple inches longer, and right through that open mouth, the sunblade severs half of its head, and the rest of the vampire just... I'm very much a fan of the blade style of vampires dying, so you can very much picture that when vampires die in my games.
Nice.
As you hit exactly the hit points you needed to take that vampire out. It had 17 left.
All right, I say everybody stay by Dawnbringer. It'll protect us. So I want everybody to get in with the radius of 20 of me, essentially.
And if I'm not mistaken, just as a reminder, I think you can change the range.
Yeah, I can. For an action, I can change it.
Okay, it is an action.
Up to 30. Yeah, it's an action.
Yeah, okay.
I can make it up to 30.
All right. Now it's Talmud's turn. You've got one of these vampire spawn that's attacking Cantriel and one that's up on the ceiling or near the ceiling.
Well, Talmud, like water, does not really do heights, so he's going to close with the one that is on Cantriel. I think he's going to, he's going to bring Ghost Cleaver around. Not raging just yet. Okay, so he's going to kind of cross the distance, kind of by the light of Dawnbringer to where this thing is trying to latch itself onto Cantriel, coming up behind it and just swinging kind of sideways, basically kind of across the lower part of its back. The first one is a 17.
It's going to hit.
Excellent. And then as he slices kind of across the thing's lower back, he uses the momentum of the axe to kind of spin 360 degrees. And as he spins around backwards, he brings it up above his head and then comes down, basically kind of on the thing's clavicle. That's a 20.
Nat 20?
Nat 20.
Nice. All right. Okay. Roll up all that damage.
All right. So the first hit is going to be a total of 10 points of magical slashing. The second is going to be, let's start at 18 and then add 5 more. So that's 23 on the second one.
All right. You come around in a couple of quick arcs with Ghost Cleaver and send pieces of this vampire flying across the room. You've done a pretty fair amount of damage to it, but it is still standing, hissing. Its eyes, pinpoints of angry light, reflecting Dawnbringer back. If that is the end of your turn, then Fig, you are up.
Yeah. He's going to look at it and say, "Right here, beastie."
Fig is going to turn his attention to the thing on the ceiling. And he is going to point at it again, like he does with most of his spells. And I think this, like you've seen before, he is going to, these different cogs and wheels just come out and begin to almost completely cover this thing in this corner. I imagine it almost looks like a cocoon at this point, like a spider cocoon, and it kind of shrinks down, and he has to make a wisdom saving throw as he's casting polymorph.
Ooh, wisdom saving throw. That is going to be a 13.
So indeed, you see this this cocoon slowly begin to shrink, and it gets smaller and smaller and smaller until it totally forms into this small little clockwork mouse.
All right.
Actually, no, because then that would make him fall possibly and get damaged. So he's going to make him into a spider, a big spider, clockwork spider,
a large clockwork spider.
Well, so
not large size, not large size, right. But it's not like a little minuscule spider.
No, it's like
Goliath bird eater sized.
Yeah, so that they can keep track of him. Right. Yeah.
Wait, it's gone. What did you do? I turned it into a tiny spider. No.
All I can think of now is the fiendish plot of Dr. Fu Manchu.
All right, so there is now a vampiric clockwork spider in the room. Is that your turn, Fig? Thorgarn, you are up.
So there is one that's legitimately still a vampire and one that is a spider.
Yes.
So I will go over to the one that is still standing, and I will swing at it. Warhammers ablazing. So that is a 27, a 21, and a 17.
All of those will hit.
$38 points of damage from magical warhammers. As I just onto it.
Talmud, having already wailed on this thing, you just come in with your warhammers and just sort of almost like a I imagine almost like when you see people where you see where they're pounding in the stakes intermittently for putting in like a circus tent. You just come in, just this thing gets knocked to and fro and is in very bad shape. But it is still standing, and it is standing right in front of you, Cantriel. What would you like to do?
I'd like to Misty step away from this bastard.
All right. You don't have a whole lot of room in here in which to Misty step, but you can do so.
I want to Misty step where they're not on top of me, and I can shoot at the clockwork leggy one.
So you could, so where you all came in the door, you basically would sort of want to put yourself over in the west corner, southwest corner, and that would put you in the opposite corner of this sort of triangular shaped room.
Okay, let's do that. So Misty step over there and then get 2 shots in at the clockwork fellow. Because they're still on the ceiling, correct?
Well, as a reminder, they're a spider.
Well, the spider, yes.
Okay.
At the ceiling. Yep. Okay, so I get 2 shots. Let's have some fun with this. Getting out my dice because why not? All right. So first shot, I think is going to miss with an 11.
Probably not though.
Oh wait, not 11, 12. I'm mathing. 12.
I'm gonna double check here. Because it's the spider's AC, not the vampire's AC. And that's exactly the spider's AC is 12.
Okay. All right. So hold on, backtracking. So do you still need the divided damage?
Yes, because the damage is going to carry over into the polymorph or into its vampire form because it only had 1 hit point.
Okay, then make so the hunter's mark was 1 point of damage.
Well, there you go. So the rest of it you'll need to divide out as suddenly, briefly, this clockwork spider suddenly turns back into a vampire as you strike it.
Why does the damage need to be divided?
Well, also, wait, hold on, because I'm using Semper Cavatina. That's a magical weapon now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she has an oath, though, right?
Yep.
It is. Yeah, it is. Okay,
I still need to know generally what types of damage you're doing throughout here because there are going to be certain types of resistances and things that are going to come into play.
Okay, fair enough. So the hunter's mark for the first hit was a 1, and then the rest of the damage is going to be an 11 from the bow itself.
All right.
And then the second hit was a 25.
Okay. Yeah.
And the hunter's mark is 4 on that one, and the damage from the bow is 9.
All right.
And who's after me? Drown.
Yep.
So then, oh wait, no, I can't because I missed a step. Never mind. And that's it for
All
me.
right. So yeah, you Missy step across the room, fire 2 arrows quickly into this vampire that Fig had just transformed, and drown.
There's still one on the ground, yeah?
Yeah, hold on a second. I just realized I did something wrong.
Uh-oh.
I was taking damage off of the wrong one. I gotta think of what your damage was. So that was at that. That would have been 20. You did 24 total points of damage. Yeah, there we go. We'll put them on the right one. So yeah, the one on the ground where Cantriel was, the dwarves are currently dealing with and is looking in pretty bad shape. And
Okay,
then
if the dwarves are clustered up around that one, they can handle their business there.
Yeah, and then the only other one's the one on the ceiling.
Right. I'll point up to the one on the ceiling and unleash 2 crackling bolts of force at it. Eldritch Blast. Ooh, not super great on that one with my attack bonus. That is going to be a mere 14.
It shifts its body, anticipating the blast coming in. Stone and mortar break loose and rain down as you just missed that one.
Okay, the first bolt will miss. The second will strike home for 12 points of force damage.
All right. As you blast it, you hear from this same one as it sort of the blast almost seems to cave its chest in part way. It's got its hands splayed. Its hands and feet, the way they're splayed, are very reminiscent of the spider form it was just in. As it looks down at all of you and says, "Gothias is hungry. You will slake his thirst, but first we will taste. We will taste." And it's going to leap off the wall at let's see what's going to leap at. Cantriel, you're too far away, so you're not going to be included in this. Fig, it's going to leap at you. Maybe they've never seen a Warforged before.
Good luck.
And it is going to, as it leaps off the wall, you actually see some of its hair and flesh burning away as it takes this 20 points of radiant damage. And I need you to make an athletics, an opposed athletics check, as it's simply attempting to tackle you to the ground.
Use a domain die.
All right.
Got one. Okay, it's a 17.
And I got a 19. So, in addition, though, it's dropping 20 feet. So that's... Come on. So, this thing's burning, and by the time it hits you and knocks you prone, Fig, all that's left of it is this sort of singed skeleton, and it just sort of collapses on itself. It took just enough damage from the fall to take it out because of all the radiant damage it took. Hold on, I'm doing domain dice maintenance real quick. You guys are at 125. So that one sort of took itself out in the process. You are not prone, Fig. But there's no longer a vampire spawn to deal with. All right. And then the other one is got Drown, Thorgarn, and Talmud to deal with. Talmud, does a 14 hit you?
I do not believe so. Go fish. Wrong game, sorry.
Does a 16 hit you?
That does.
As it takes a couple of swipes at you, It is going to deal. With that second attack, it's going to deal 6 points of slashing damage to you as it just manages to rake its claws across your face. And, oh, wait, that one also took 20 points of radiant damage because they're all caught in the light. But it is still standing. Everybody...
Would it have to roll with disadvantage?
You know what? You're right. It would. That was a natural 20 on the other die roll, so I think we'll go with that other one. Everybody, make me a perception check real quick.
Me too.
Because you're engaged in combat, yes.
Natural 20, 21.
Look at Thorgarn.
Yeah.
Also,
Good job. 24 for me.
Cantriel, 30 what?
28.
Close, 30-ish.
John got a 0.
Wow.
Nice.
Drown's probably hearing his own blood rush in his ears right now.
He's just like busy brushing the ash that splattered off of Fig.
Talmud and Fig, what did you guys get?
I likewise rolled my second nat 20 of the night for a total of 24.
Fig got 18.
All right, so Drown's the only one that doesn't hear from outside this room. You can hear other movement. You don't see anything yet. Well, I take that back. Cantriel, you can practically see through the walls. And it's in part due to your vantage point. You can see that there's something moving out in the other room that you had just come from. At least, and what you see is not moving across the floor. You see shapes scrabbling along the walls. As this vampire ends its turn, and Griveth, it is your turn.
Can I shout? There's more creepy crawlies literally out there, and point to the room where I'm spotting.
Yeah, you guys can absolutely shout things back and forth to one another.
Perfect.
In in short bursts between turns. So yeah, absolutely. The equivalent of "We've got company." So Griveth and Talmud, it's both of yours turns. Both of yous. It's both of yous turns.
Talmud, you take him out.
Okay, I will try. All right. Talmud will close. Wait, this was the one that was still initially on Cantriel?
The one that was originally on Cantriel, yes.
Okay, so I'm already next to this one.
Yep, you are engaged with this one.
See? No. And I'm going to recklessly, knowing that we are kind of being surrounded by additional of these creatures and not knowing how many more of them there may be coming, Talmud is going to take 2 more swipes recklessly at this creature. 17 on the first one.
Yep.
Weakness. The second is a 27.
2 more hits.
2 hits. The first is going to be 11 points of slashing magical damage. The second is 7 slashing magical damage.
Yeah, you take a couple more big chunks out of it. And it seems to be looking around as you're swiping at it, and it's looking in horror at these wounds that are illuminated in the light of Dawnbringer, and seems almost confused that it doesn't seem to be regenerating. Is that your turn? Then Griveth. It's just a few steps if you want to engage with this one.
Right. So, with the circular tower kind of deal, we're kind of in the rooms that are going around the edge of the tower.
Yeah. So the room,
remember it?
The room that you're in is sort of triangular shaped. So to the north would be the point. You came through on the east wall, through the center of the east wall, and then the south wall are straight, but that west wall curves up and meets the east wall.
Okay, so the noise we heard,
It's coming from the east.
Okay, so would that be closer to the dwarves?
Yes.
Okay. So I am going to move up, holding Dawnbringer aloft to keep the whole pressure on these guys. But I am not going to strike the vampire. I am going to hold my action to attack if something else comes into the room, and make sure that Dawnbringer is aloft, so high enough that my body won't be blocking it or anything like that.
All right. Excellent. Fig.
So there's still the one vampire and then the thing in the other room, possibly.
Yeah, there's something in the other room that you've all heard. More commotion. It sounds sort of like something scraping against stone, and furtive movement. And then there's the one. So you basically have Talmud and Thorgarn are sort of engaged, tag teaming on this one that's in the middle of them, and all three of them are sort of in front of this doorway.
Okay. Fig is is Fig able to move so that he is in between them in the doorway so he can see down it to see what it is?
Yeah, I mean, you got Griveth is sort of already on one side of the doorway. Griveth, okay. Are you on the... Looking at the door, are you to the left or to the right? Where did you position yourself?
To the left.
Okay, that's kind of where I thought. So, yeah, you could get in between them.
Because, yeah, he just wants to see what's there.
Okay, and you have dark vision, right?
No.
You don't?
No. Negative.
I thought Griveth was the only one with poor eyesight. Go ahead and make a investigation check.
Ooh. I think it's very good at those. A 28.
As you sort of move into that right in front of the door, you actually, in part because as Griveth moved into the left of the door, some of Dawnbringer's light spills out. You see 3 more vampire spawns scrambling up the walls and across the ceiling coming towards this room. Sorry, you see 2 more vampire spawn crawling across the walls and the ceiling coming towards this room.
How far up is the one on the wall?
It is on the other side of the room, and you're standing in front of the door, so it's 5, 10, 15, about 20, 25 feet away.
Yeah, how tall?
Oh, sorry, it's about 10 feet. It's about 10 feet up the wall. And 25 feet from you. Are you guys doing okay visualizing this, or do I need to show a map?
No, I'm just reading a spell to see if I can. I'm reading Flaming Sphere to see if I can hit him with it.
You should be able to.
It's interestingly worded. It's only 5 feet, but it can kind of jump over barriers that are 5 feet tall. But there's no barriers. So I don't know if it can jump. Probably not. So, okay. Sorry. Spells are hard. Okay. Well, then I guess it's just fireball time. So Fig is going to.
Do I want to make a beach ball of fire? No. Want to make an exploding beach ball of fire.
He wants to stay versatile. He doesn't want to always just spam fireballs. So, but yeah, I think in this particular case, he is going to just, you see it again. Just these matches just come out in a radius on his arm, and they begin to spin faster and faster and coalesce at the front of his hand, and just with one single shot of flame, just ignite this hallway.
So it is basically a cube room, and because of the range of fireball, both vamps will need to make a dex save. They're both in the range. And because you're casting it on the far side of the room, you are just going to catch some backdraft. You won't get burned by it. None of your allies will, but you're filling this other room with fire. So vamp number 1 has a dirty 20. Vamp number 2 has a 9. So one of them saves.
I'm gonna get you to re-roll the one that failed.
Of course you are.
Yeah.
That's gonna be now a 13. And the other one had a 9.
All right, they're both gonna take 39 points of fire damage.
Alrighty then. As you can see very clearly in the illumination of this magical fire, these two, one was in the middle of the room on the ceiling, and the one that was on the wall on the far side. And you see as the flames explode in this room, and they go out through the other doors or open archways that you had previously seen, fire spilling out, and a bit of fire. Griveth, you feel the warmth where you're standing on the side of the door as fire sort of... Anybody looking sees Fig, momentarily a silhouette looking like V standing in the burning building. Sorry, I just realized V from Vendetta in the comics or in the movie. When you see V's origin, I realized I didn't realize as I said it until I saw your look. Like, what do you mean looking like me?
V, the other arsonist.
Yes, the other arsonist. Technically, V's not the arsonist. That's a different game.
Yeah, V plays an arsonist on TV, so you know.
Right. So, yeah, you do what appears to be a significant amount of damage to these vampires. Cantriel, you, with that perception that you had made, notice where you're standing in the corner of this room, about 5 feet to your right on the south wall, there's a split that's about maybe 8 feet high. The wall is cracked, and there's about a 3 or 4 foot gap in the wall, and that's where you heard movement coming from, was that gap. And it is your turn.
Of course.
Oh, no, sorry. Thorgarn. Silly me assuming Fig with a 7 had the lowest initiative. Sorry, I completely skipped over Thorgarn.
Do you forget that Thorgarn typically rolls 5 or lower on the die? So 3 attack rolls. Two of them are an 18. The other one's a 31.
Yeah.
Do the 18s hit?
Yeah, they do.
Right. So then all 3 connect 32 points of magical bludgeoning damage.
So this one that you've been battering around is you continue. This time you battered around some more with these warhammers after Talmud. The firelight from Fig's fireball glinting off of your warhammers. And you're hearing bones break. I imagine there's this moment as fire is sort of, you come in with your final blow across its face, and there's just one of its fangs breaks off, and you just see as it flies through the air. But it's not dead yet.
Okay.
And now it's Cantriel's turn.
Oh boy, and curiosity killed the cat, didn't it? So I just heard the motion, correct?
Correct.
And Fig threw off a fireball. I could kind of wiggle through and take a peek.
Okay.
See what's in the next zone.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll have my bow drawn sort of at the ready, and I'm going to look and see if I can see what the sounds are.
Are you looking in or are you crawling through?
How deep in is it? Is the opening of the crack? Like, what's the depth on it? Can I tell?
It looks like the crack is maybe 18 inches thick. You can see into another room.
I want to just see and kind of like, peekaboo it, like just sort of poke my head through.
Okay. So just sort of leaning over, sort of doing the classic leaning with your bow drawn.
Yeah.
You look in and you're looking into a room and you can see 6 stone sarcophagi that are lying on this floor. The room, even with your dark vision, almost seems to have a heavy darkness about it. Because the floor appears to be tiled in some dark material, and all 6 coffin lids are slightly ajar.
Well, damn it. That's never a good sign. Yeah, I'm going to pull myself back out of poking my head in there, and can I get a shot in at one of the sizzling vampires?
Oh yeah, so you basically looked, the only one you could probably get a shot at, well, you've got Fig, pretty much 4 humanoids are blocking the door. Because the 2 dwarves are engaged with the vampire, and then Fig is standing on the other side of the vampire and in the doorway.
Oh.
That normally if it was one person there, you'd be able to shoot around them, but you got 4 people that are. If you'd have to move to get an advantageous location.
Okay, so and I couldn't see anything besides the sarcophagi, right? No, I
mean you just stayed in the room and sort of peeked and looked.
I mean, I didn't see anything in motion. Can I hold action then until I see a creature within shooting range?
Yes.
Let's do that.
All right.
And then use my bonus action, shout at Drown. Try and zap him a little bit harder. That might work. Then you get a D8 of inspiration.
All right, and Drown, it will be your turn.
All right. Quick sketch of where there are remaining vampire spawn again, please.
There's one currently being battered between the 2 dwarves over near the door.
Right, that one's still up. Okay.
Technically, you're not aware of the 2 that are in the other room, only because Fig blew a fireball in there. You know something's in there. Okay. So yeah, the one in the room is the only one you have an awareness of.
Does the one in the room look like it's in pretty bad shape at this point?
Yeah, it's looking like it's on its last. It's literally on its last fang.
Okay, so Fig detonated a massive explosion in the hallway, so clearly there was at least something there. Yep. So I'll kind of move over and see if I can get a better look out into the hall to see what might be lurking.
So you're looking into a room that you had previously come from, which is basically a 20-foot by 20-foot by 20-foot room with the ceilings. And because of the lingering fire and the dark vision and everything, you move into position and quickly look around, and you can see that, I mean, still with some of their hair and stuff burning, there's one across the room 20 feet away, 10 feet up on the wall, and there's one 20 feet above you in the middle of the room on the ceiling.
Oh, well, I'll just fire straight up at the one on the ceiling then. There we go. All right, that's going to be a pair of hits. So 2 shimmering greenish bolts of energy, and this fella is going to take 19 points of force damage.
All right, that's the one on the ceiling.
Yep.
All right.
And that'll be done.
All right, yeah, and you blast away at that one, bits of mortar and stone raining down around it as well. It still manages to cling with its talons, its long claws to the ceiling. Cantriel, did you stay in the corner? Is that where you were holding your action? So you pretty much held your ground. You peeked into the room, saw nothing.
Right.
And then you're just sort of watching the door and
Yeah.
just watching for any movement.
Yeah, like I'm kind of like between the two. I don't want to move too far from where the crack is, and I hear the motion in case something peeks through there.
All right. There's another domain die for you. Thanks to Gaz2742 for cheering 500 bits. So, the two that are, well, actually the first one, let me get this all figured out here. Griveth, you know what? Dwarves, the one you've been battering around is basically just, I mean, you're just bam, bam, slice, slice, bam, bam. And it seems to, after Thorgarn hits it this last time and the others are moving around, it seems to sort of waver. And Griveth barely shifts, and just a fresh surge of Dawnbringers light washes across it, and it barely has time to throw its hands up before it sizzles away from the radiant at the start of its turn. So that one is dead. The other two drowned. You just moved into the doorway next to Fig. Is that what you did?
If that's what I had to do to get a decent shot.
Yeah, and there would.
On the
I mean, it's
creatures
kind of
that were
crowded here at the door at this point.
Right. If I'm not engaged, I can just back out of the way to give other people some room.
Yeah, you weren't, so you could have basically popped in like a hit and fade and stepped back. So the two that are on the ceiling are going to continue scrabbling across, and they are going to both, as they get up above Fig, they're both going to attempt to grapple attack Fig. So Fig, I need a athletics check. Contested.
So are they like crawling through the door and then?
Nope. Well, wait. So Fig's standing in the doorway. So they're basically getting right above that area and going to sort of, if they have to, sort of drop and swing. So
are they on the top of the door? Opening?
We're going to see how this plays out, and then you're going to get your attack that you held.
Gotcha.
Because it's basically as they're in motion is when they'll come into your view. So Fig, I need contested athletics from you.
I got a 18.
So the first one drops in, and you can hear as it drops, they both sort of drop together. And you just hear this as its claws are raking down the stone. And as it drops, it misjudges it just a little bit and sort of hits and bounces off your shoulder a little bit, landing at your feet. Simultaneously, the second one comes down, and with a 21 is going to come down on your shoulders, driving you into the ground again. This one will, as it pushes Fig to the ground, come right in through the doorway, Griveth, triggering your held action. So you can take your attack.
Thank you, sir.
And then we'll see how your attack plays out if I can finish mine.
That was a 24.
That's a hit.
All right, let's do some damage on that thingy. Not so great, but I do get extra radiant. So that's 20 damage.
All right.
for the first attack.
Whoops.
Second attack. That's a 22 to hit.
See?
And I get the extra damage there. Ooh. 20 more damage on it.
All right.
And that one did hit Fig, right?
Yep.
Okay.
As Griveth is cutting into it, Fig, it is scraping its claws across you. It's going to take 2 claw attacks at you. The first one's going to be a 13 to hit. The second is a 24 to hit.
I'm going to deflect that second hit.
That's a reaction?
Yes.
Because your held action is a reaction.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. I guess not.
So it will get the attack in. Does just the one hit, Fig? Or did they both
Sorry,
hit?
what was the first one?
13?
No, that doesn't hit me.
All right, so you're going to take 10 points of slashing damage as it's drawing sparks raking across. The one that sort of rebounded off of you is going to leap on Griveth, attempting to attack him. That is going to be a... Jeez.
Do they have disadvantage?
No, because it didn't start its turn in the light of the Dawnbringer. Oh wait, I take that back because it's while it's in the sunlight. Sorry, the radiant damage is when it starts its turn. So yes. So yeah, it's not going to hit you with a 9 on that first one. The second one, gosh, these dice all of a sudden they're like, uh-oh, Dawnbringer's involved. 3s and 4s. So there's a couple of swipes at Griveth, and I imagine Griveth, you don't even notice because it's as you're taking the attacks against the other one, it goes to swipe at you and you just move, and it goes to swipe at you again and you take your other attack. Cantriel.
Yeah.
Over by you, you see a set of talons reach around the edge of the wall.
No.
That's all you see for the moment. And they sort of do this. They sort of reach out and they go clicking against the wall, and you hear, "They call you the Dawnbringers."
No, he does. And she'll like throw her head back to Griveth. And can I with my...
Well, you're holding your action, so you will get your this is going to trigger your held action.
Yeah.
If you wish.
Yeah. Because
suddenly you see the fingernails tense up and a form rapidly darts through into the room.
That's a no. You're going to no. So yeah, I'm going to shoot at it. Let's see. So it gets both of my shots, right?
Sure.
Okay, well then let's see here now. That first one is a 14. Does a 14 hit?
A 14 will not hit.
14 will not hit. Okay, so then you all go bye-bye. And the second one is a 29 to hit.
Yeah, that one's going to hit.
Just in case, gotta check. So then that is going to be 11 plus 17 points piercing.
17. What? That was 17 total?
Yes.
Okay, because the way you worded it was 11 plus 17. So I was just checking.
No, 11. I'm doing the mathing and I spoke out loud what the total was. So.
Okay.
And
this vampire, as you strike it, the first arrow missing it sort of hits the ground in a tumble. And almost in one of these heroic 3-point stance, sort of sliding, and it digs its claws in with its left hand, pivoting, using that to pivot on the floor, rips the arrow out of its own chest, and sprints back at you. because it was just using its move to get into the room. It is going to take its attack at you. And I got to check something, actually. Because, Griveth, you're over by the door. 5, 10, 15. Okay, it's just in the light of Dawnbringer.
Yay.
Did two of you say that?
I went,
It sounded like it sounded like an
it's actually
echo.
quite on brand for both of them.
So at disadvantage, that is going to be a dirty 20 to hit you.
Not if it's a reroll.
Spend those domain dice,
Oh
Dawnbringers.
yeah, Joey gave them to us for a reason.
That is going to be a 21 on the
Oh,
reroll.
Try me.
And it is going to use that to grapple you as it slams you into the corner. You're the one called Cantriel.
You're not my type.
And you see its fangs as it goes in for the bite.
Oh.
That is only going to be an 11 at disadvantage. And I just imagine the way it grappled you, and maybe it's you, maybe it's instinct, maybe it's your mother. The bow gets in the way and is sort of up under its jaw, preventing it. So it's sort of snapping at you. This spawn seems different slightly than the others. This one seems smarter.
Uh-oh.
And that is where we're going to take our break, because I just realized it's 10 after 10. So just a quick reminder, there are still the two in the other room that dropped down and are sort of just into this room, engaged with Fig and Griveth. And then there's this last one that appears to have Cantriel trapped in the corner. So with that, we are going to take about a 10-minute break. Thank you to everybody who's tuned in so far. Thank you for the bits donations and the subscriptions and resubscriptions. Keep them coming. Keep those Dawnbringers in domain dice. We will be back after this short rest. And we're back. I don't know. Sorry, my green screen is literally falling down behind me all of a sudden.
It wants to get in on the action.
It's a vampire spawn.
I heard we were back
It's a mimic!
It's my own mimic. In my own dojo. Oh, I know what's going on here. Hold on. I bumped my desk and moved my monitor. Where
Join
my
us peek behind the curtain, folks.
Yeah. Why didn't he do this while we were on break? I don't know. Why is he talking
your
like
camera.
Jim Gaffigan? All right. There we go. All right. So, this extra saucy vampire has just come in and grappled Cantriel in the corner. We have the two extra vamps that came in, pinning Fig to the ground. Griveth had taken his held action against them. The dwarves are standing not far away from the door where the one they were fighting has disintegrated. Drown is also right. Pretty much everybody's at the door except for Cantriel. And Griveth and Talmud.
Although I remember that I backed off of waste.
Yeah, you had sort of backed away a little bit. But Griveth and Talmud, it is your turn. So I guess that'll be you, Griveth.
Yeah, you're up front, Hoss.
All right. Okay, so we got one trying to be very friendly with Fig.
Yeah, so the
the
one
I
has
smacked
Fig.
on.
Yeah, you're technically engaged with the one that has Fig pinned,
Okay.
and the other one is within 5 feet of you as well. That took a couple swipes at you.
Okay. So a quick glance around the room. I see this. How does the vampire look different than the others? The one that's after Cantriel.
So these vampires are the ones you've been dealing with. They have stringy, matted hair, sallow skin, moldering old clothes. This one looks a little more put together. His hair is actually slicked back, pulled, and from this angle looking at him, reflecting in the light of Dawnbringer, you would see that there's some sort of a golden metal hair tie or clasp holding his hair back, and he seems to be wearing some sort of black and red suit that is, it still has an air of age about it. Get you that extra domain die thanks to the cheer from Fart Plume. So, all right, Griveth.
He's not asking if Cantriel is Irina, is he?
Not yet.
Okay, good. All right. So I don't see any more coming through the crack, right? Just the one that ran over.
Yeah,
to
just the one that came
Okay.
through.
Griveth sees Cantriel in trouble, but he's right here. He's got to save Fig. This thing, he knows how dangerous these things are, and we've got to help Fig. So it's a hard decision for him, but he stays. He's gonna help out Fig, and he's, of course, shining Dawnbringer, in the face of these things. And he is going to bring Dawnbringer down for devastating strikes, hopefully. Okay, that's 18 to hit. 18 to hit?
Yeah, sorry, 18 will hit. Sorry, my numbers looked weird. Somehow I gave one of the dead vampires a whole lot of hit points.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, why are there 4 vampires here? Yes, that will hit.
Okay, and Dawnbringer does 24 points of damage. Dawnbringer swings down again.
With that 24 points of damage, You slice Dawnbringer down through, coming at an angle through this thing, and the top half sort of sizzles away. I imagine the blade of Dawnbringer just barely stopping an inch or two from cutting into Fig, as you cut through and destroy the one that had Fig pinned. There is still another one right next to you.
Okay. That one is going to take the second attack, which is 18.
That one will hit.
All right. Dawnbringer, don't fail me. All right. Griveth knows we need to help Cantriel. So he is going to do a smite. Ah! So let's see here. Let me do my damage. Okay, that's 18. And then, sorry, I got the die roller here using on the D&D Beyond. Okay. That's 13, so that's 29. So that's 33 points of damage.
Wow. Yeah, so after cutting the one off of Fig, you just swing back with Dawnbringer and sending your divine energy into it, and you deal a very significant amount of damage to this one. But do not kill
Fiend,
it.
back! Come at me! Come at me!
So now, Talmud, as it's your turn, you have in the southwest corner, you've got Cantriel pinned by this one vampire. And immediately in front of you on the ground, you've got Griveth whacking away at another vampire that had just burst through the door and they had knocked Fig to the ground. What would you like to do?
So, Talmud, noticing that this new vampire who's entered the room is perhaps a little bit more with it than these other, maybe a little less feral. He's going to round on that one, and as he begins to make his way across the room, his tattoos begin glowing up his arms and across his face. And Cousin Tildane again kind of appears out of his face. No, no, no. You don't ever back a woman into a corner. That's not right. And is going to bring Ghost Cleaver around to teach this one some manners. Reckless attack. Ooh. Have the 27.
That's going to hit.
Yeah. All right. Second will be, good God, I'm going to spend a domain die because I rolled 2 2s. 2 2s for everyone. 23 instead.
That will hit.
That's better than 2 2s. Okay. The first one. Raging. Okay. So the first one, is going to be 20 points of magical slashing. Second, will be 19. Suck it, Blue.
All right.
I mean, Red. Damn it.
Fig.
Years.
It is now your turn.
Am I still pinned?
No, the vampire that was pinning you has sizzled away. You are just prone.
All right, Fig will stand up. And he's going to hurl a small mote of fire at the other one.
The one that Griveth engaged with that's close to you, or the one that's fighting Cantriel?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the one that's closer to me. Yep. I got a 20.
You're throwing a firebolt at it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because that is a ranged attack at close range.
Yep. And
Okay.
so that's disadvantage.
Yep.
And I got a 20.
Cool.
Yeah.
That will hit.
Sweet. I got 9 fire damage.
All right. Briefly illuminated in fire, it hisses as you singe pretty much half of its head. The hair singes off. And this one is looking feral as you attack it. Is that the end of your turn? Thorgarn, I did not forget you this time.
Yay! So that is a 21.
What are you attacking?
The one that's on Fig.
Okay. It's on it's actually on, it's not on Fig. That one was dead, but Fig and Griveth are sort of engaged with one. Is it that one?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to use a domain die and re-roll that one because I don't think a 14 is going to hit. So it's going to turn that into a 28 and then a 30. Lowest is a 22.
Yeah. Those are all hits.
It's going to be total of 29 magical smashing damage.
You deal incredible amounts of damage to this thing as you start swinging your warhammers in there. This time you didn't quite get the exact amount you needed to kill another vamp.
It happens.
Cantriel, you are currently grappled by this, what we have apparently coined the saucy vampire. He's trying to bite at you, but your bow is keeping him sort of at bay. What would you like to do?
Normally, I'm used to being taken out to dinner first before getting into this type of situation. And I'm grappled, correct?
Yes.
I want to get out of the grapple.
All right. You'll have to use your action to attempt to break free from the grapple.
Okay, let's do that.
That will be a strength check, athletics check.
Okay. That's going to be a 19.
That is enough to break free of his grapple. So you break free of his grapple. So his arms are no longer sort of pinned around you. You just sort of push away from, but he still has you trapped in the corner.
This isn't a way to get a lady's attention, at least not in the right way. And I can't move then.
You can move, but you will provoke an opportunity attack from him.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That means Chompers is coming out. So then I guess have my rapier out and stab him if he tries to come in for another bite.
So you're just going to draw your rapier and just hold for if he comes at you.
Yeah. Oh wait, do I still have an action? No, because I
no. You used
no.
You used your action.
Yeah. So no, I think I'm just going to yeah, there's really not much I can do in terms of bonus action. Let's see here.
If you want to run away, just meta speaking, he has disadvantage against you. And I can soften the blow even if he hits you. So
okay. So then screeching. Talmud, there's another one right here for you. Do something about it, and like duck under the vampire's arm and just sort of like away from him.
I feel like Cantriel. This seems like something Cantriel's experienced previously in her life, ducking away from unwanted advances.
She's like glaring between Griveth and the vampire now because she's got two of them to worry about.
At disadvantage.
Cantriel just make the Scooby-Doo noise running away from this guy?
At disadvantage, that is going to be a 19. As you attempt to slide past him, he rakes out at you with his arms, grabbing your shoulder, this time pulling you back towards him in another grapple. but he's behind you now. And he seems to be attempting to shield himself from the light of Dawnbringer. And now it's Drown's turn.
Okay. Drown is going to head over to the corner where Cantriel is tangling with this vampire and try and basically cross-check him with his staff and shove him away from her to break the grapple and push him out into the light.
He's essentially in the corner.
Ah, okay. Then instead,
because this is, as I said,
and...
it's a triangular room, so the corner is more than it's less than a 90 degree. I know geometry. You know what I mean. It's an acute angle.
So he will head up, reach over and grab him under the chin by the throat and try and grapple him and drag him away.
All right. Yeah, we'll do exposed. Nope. Opposed, not exposed. Opposed
TOS,
grapple
friend.
checks.
TOS.
Yes.
Is he in the light right now?
He is not in the light because he shielded himself with Cantriel's body.
Okay, so he gets to avoid the disadvantage for that. All right, so I'm going to use that there. Well, we'll see. If this fails, I'll use the inspiration. That's 14.
26, because I got a natural 20.
Okay, then. Well.
So you reach over, having already dealt with a couple of these things, and as you go to grab him, it's like grabbing granite almost. His muscles are just so tensed, and he is resolute in holding his ground.
Then I will just smack him with the staff. That's a dirty 20.
That will hit.
Right. So that will smack him for 10 points of bludgeoning damage, and I'm going to burn another spell slot to Eldritch Smite him. Holy
I couldn't tell what you were doing, V, and then I realized you have a green can, don't you? It looks like glass when you hold it up in front of your face.
It does. So that's 35 force damage and knocked prone.
So yeah, as you channel this Eldritch damage, he doesn't really have anywhere to go. As you slam him, it hits so hard that as he's flung back just the half a foot into the stone, his shoulders hit where the corners meet and the stones crack.
Flare of green energy.
Oh,
And you hit him so hard, you actually see it looks almost like his clavicles have snapped as he's pushed into this corner. But then you watch and hear as the clavicles snap back into place. As at the start of his turn, still shielded by now your body and Cantriel's body, he will regenerate some of his damage. The other one that's been getting wailed on by Thorgarn and Griveth is in a fury, is going to retaliate at Thorgarn. This one is in sunlight, so we'll be at, oh, you know what? It's not going to get to attack. You see it lunge at you, Thorgarn, and you watch as its claws rake right where your heart would be. But it turns to ash. And then it just looks in horror as and in the lighted Dawnbringer, this one sizzles away to nothing because it takes 20 points where it is. This other one is pinned between the wall and the two of you, and it is going to look at over Cantriel's shoulder, looking at Drown. You know, you may destroy me, you may destroy my brothers and sisters, but there are so many more of us waiting, and at the end, he waits to drink all of your blood. And he is going to attempt to drive his claws from down low into Cantriel's kidneys. However, he's a little too pinned to do that. He's going to try again. Man, okay. That would be a 25.
Oh yeah, that hits. Mm-hmm.
You'll take 11 points of piercing damage.
Oh, fine.
So,
and
as that's happening, the dwarven spirits that are swarming around him are going to intervene where they can. We're going to use Spirit Shield.
Ooh.
I can reduce that by 3d6.
How is that worded?
If you are raging and another creature you can see within 30 feet of you takes damage, you can use your reaction to reduce that damage by 3d6.
Yeah, because of the spiritual nature, sure. That makes sense.
Okay.
Legitimately, I know that sounded like sarcasm.
That makes
sure,
sense.
Sure, that makes sense. Let's do that.
Fine. Just go for it.
God. So it reduces the damage by 11 points.
Oh, lovely. Thank you so much. Thank you, Talmud.
Well, Golthias will need to know how much stronger you have grown. And he is going to attempt... Well, he's going to do it. So both of you would get opportunity attacks against him as he reaches up, twisting his hands backwards, grabbing it into the corner, and uses his movement to scramble up towards the ceiling. So both Drown and Cantriel will get opportunity attacks.
Critical hit.
Oh, nice.
Now I wish I had a spell slot left to smite him. Oh well. 20 points of damage.
All right, that's really good. Cantriel?
He's climbing up and away, correct?
Yep.
So, seeing that he is... Where'd it go? Crawling away from us like the coward you are. I'm going to start making this very high-pitched screeching sound and cast some shatter his way.
Okay. Is that a...
Yes, it's a con save.
Con save. Okay. Well,
15.
that is a 5.
Lovely. That's going to be 3d8 of thunder damage.
Oh.
And oh, hello, pretty numbers. So that is going to be 19.
All around you, stone begins to rain down as you hit him so hard with the spell. You see his bones breaking beneath the skin. Everywhere that bones pierce the skin, it begins to slowly burn with that sizzle and burn of a dying vampire. And broken masonry begins to fall down around him as well. As he's burning away, he just looks down at you and says, "You don't know what you've gotten yourself into. You..." And his jaw begins to burn away, and he doesn't finish what he's saying. As the last of him burns away, a single metallic object drops from where he was. That metal band that was holding his hair back falls to the ground in the corner of the room at your feet. And you now see a golden ring lying on the ground at your feet. And you have destroyed all of the vampires.
Yay, I pick up the ring with my arrow. I am not touching it. I have learned the hard way. Don't touch them. And she'll turn to Drop. What's this?
That is a ring.
Well, I know that. You can't tell what type of ring? I'm not going to walk around all cursed. Although you could remove it for me, couldn't you?
Does it look like a ring that would go on a finger, or is it something actually designed for like binding your hair back?
It looks like it is a ring that could be worn on a finger. He was using it as a hair tie.
Is it just like plain gold, or?
It's untarnished gold. I mean, gold doesn't tarnish, but I mean, it's unmarred. Yeah.
I can't tell what it is simply by looking at it. No.
All right, then stand by. Just in case. And she'll put it on one of her fingers to see what happens.
All right. I gotta check something real quick. One of the beauties of converting on the fly from 3rd edition to 5th edition.
The tweaking.
How many magic items are you attuned to?
I'm attuned to 3.
It doesn't do anything.
Huh.
It fits.
It's pretty.
Perhaps you'd have to take time to attune to it.
I don't have the time.
Are we in a hurry?
Yeah, but I like the other things I have attuned to.
Well, that's a different problem.
It is.
How long does it take to attune to something? Because
An
Fig
hour.
had that.
An hour.
Short rest.
Oh, then Fig would know what that cape is that he has.
Ooh.
That he found in that grave.
Oh, that's right. You got the cape from the ossuary.
Yes.
And I forgot about that because you guys took a. Let me go back here real quick and see what you had. Was it was right here. You had taken. Who took the arrows?
Cantriel, yeah.
That was a dumb question.
That was mine.
Because you would have been able to learn what those were over your short rest as well.
Okay.
Because you found the 10 arrows that were unmarked, or rather unmarred by time. Fig, you have found a cloak of elven kind.
Ooh.
And Cantriel, you learned that those 10 arrows, each of them is a magical arrow that does +1 damage.
Ooh, lovely.
Well, they're +1 arrows, so it'd be +1 to attack, +1 to damage.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
So you'll have to annotate and keep track of those 10 arrows separately.
Okay.
So yeah, those are from that. But yeah, now you have a gold ring that you don't know what it does.
Okay.
We will either need to take a rest, or potentially Fig could identify it, but I don't know if you know that spell.
Keep in mind that though it's been a couple sessions, you did take a short rest literally about a half hour ago.
Yeah. Well, I'll just hang on to it for now, and we'll see if we can figure it out later. It's kind of attractive.
How long has it been since we actually had a long rest? I know it was many sessions, but it's been
I don't think it's
a lot
been...
of travel.
It's only been the actual amount of time that has passed since you took a long rest is only a couple hours. Because you basically woke up in the morning after a long rest and a hero's feast the night before, went through the magical gateway into the cave, fought them, then immediately went out into the to head through the defile to the tower, dealt with everything out there, and then took a long rest at the top of the tower, or short rest, excuse me. So I'd say at most it's been 2 or 3 hours since you had a long rest.
Wow.
Well, that would be up by 1, so it'd be about 4 because you took a short rest. We'll call it 4.5, with the time to get where you are now. So, yeah. So just as a reminder, you've come through a couple of square rooms. The room you are in now, there is only the one exit, or rather, there's technically 2, as Cantriel discovered a narrow crack that I think Cantriel and maybe Fig are probably the only ones that could squeeze through that crack. The others are either too large, too stout, or too armored to fit through there.
Don't tell Griveth that.
Maybe if you removed your armor and oiled up Griveth, you could fit through the crack.
I'm going to say he carries a tub of lard. I assume this is why.
No, it's not. You'd think.
Sadly.
Griveth's in the corner already greasing himself up to go through.
Ugh.
All right, what would you like to do? As a reminder, the room you are in has all of the broken red tiles that appeared to be some sort of shrine to a Shardalon. Had the one entrance that had the melted metal doors. The room that Fig blew up the fireball was a 20 by 20 room that you had come through from the east, from a similar room, and there was an entrance or exit to the north that was unexplored.
The thing that was a shrine to a Shardalon, can we make sure that that's thoroughly not a shrine to a Shardalon anymore?
So, in the aftermath of everything that's happened, looking around this room now, about the only thing that was truly intact was the chest. All of the tile work in here, there is the stone shrine that had a sort of vague dragon-like shape, but that's the only thing else that seems to be intact. Everything else is pretty destroyed, presumably when the black dragon broke in and was wreaking havoc. What would you like to do?
Fig, would you want to go check out the sarcophagi?
I think Fig is like, as Fig has done for a while now, he's like twirling around in this cape that he has now with the hood up, just kind of like looking how it just how it moves, and just and he looks up. Yes.
We could go in together.
That would be good. I have never seen anything like this before, those things.
Neither have I. Research, right?
And Fig would wait for you to start, and then he would follow you in.
Yeah, I would definitely have her go in first, and just sort of like, as Fig is making his way through, sort of have the bow and arrow at the ready, should, something pop out and say hello.
So
Jake, did you say it was the entrance into this room that was too big for the rest of us to fit through?
Too small.
Yeah,
too small.
If Fig and Cantriel are going through the crack, the crack, as a reminder, is at its thickest or widest is about 3 feet. The walls are about 18 inches thick, and it's about 8 feet tall, with sort of crumbling masonry all around it. So they're the two that could move through with the greatest ease.
Okay, of course, Griveth is concerned with Cantriel moving into this room that he can't follow, so he is going to shove himself up to the crack as much as possible and jam Dawnbringer through the crack, like extend his arm and hold it up, so as much light as he can shine into that extra room, that's what he's gonna do.
Okay.
He kind of just blocks everybody else from looking in as he kind of plugs the hole.
Cantriel is gonna like grab his hand by the wrist. Oh, great, good idea, and like try and take Dawnbringer out of his hand for a better torch.
He thinks about it for a moment, but Dawnbringer won't let him let go of the sword. Like he can't actually let it go.
Then I'll use my own source of light. Pull that thing back in.
Yes, but have you seen it has special properties that might protect you if one of those creatures?
How? By just holding it up?
Yes. Did you see it burn the creatures as they appeared? They can't stand in the light.
The vampires were burning in the light of the sword.
You can move back into the light source if you're attacked.
I'm not going to go into the light, but I'll check and see what I can find.
Okay.
So
he's gonna hold it in there.
So Fig and Cantriel, you are able to move in through this crack into this other room while Griveth aggressively illuminates your way. The room you find yourself in is from north to south is 15 feet across, but it is twice as long east to west. The westernmost wall appears to be also on the outer wall of this tower. There are 2 rows of 3 sarcophagi, all of them with their lids slightly ajar. There's a very musty, dry scent in here. There is a door on the east wall and a door on the south wall.
What do you think? Should we check in those things first?
Yes, I think so.
All right, I'll take that row. You take the other one.
I'll be waiting here.
Yes, you will. Always.
You are able to move through the 2 rows, peering inside, slightly pushing the sides. There is soil in these sarcophagi, and the impressions of where it looks like the vampires themselves may have lain, or at the very least humanoid shaped depressions in the soil, but they are all empty. Cantriel, you, as you're moving along the row to the south, and you get to the last one, sort of moving from the middle to the last one to the right, which would be to your left as you're sort of looking at the south door. The door is just a few feet away, and you catch an incredibly strong stench of, well, it's, for lack of a better word, it smells like a slaughterhouse.
Okay. Well, that can't be good. And it's behind the door, right?
It's coming from the other side of this door.
Yeah. Fig. There's a rather interesting fragrance over here.
Interesting?
Not in a good way.
Hmm.
You can smell, right?
My olfactory senses are operational at the moment.
Just making sure. See what you get from it.
Fig's going to go over, and he is also going to, while he's doing so, he's going to cast Detect Magic.
There is nothing within the range of your spell except for the items. Both of you would sort of glow with various, and I would say the ring that Cantriel found actually glows as well. So that would at least tell you that it's an enchanted ring. But beyond that, you don't know what it does. But the door itself, and nothing from the other side of the door within range seems to be pinging your magical sense.
What's happening? I don't like this.
Good.
It smells like the kitchen after the cook has made some stew, except
Yes.
more.
Bloody.
What kind of stew has your cook been making?
Nice beef stew.
Yeah.
Silent green.
Oh.
So, while Cantriel and Fig are exploring and Griveth is blocking the door, what are the dwarves and the drown? What are the dwarves and drown? I don't know why your name is causing everybody such trouble tonight.
It's been an issue. That's all right. Drown will basically just sort of park himself in the doorway and just sort of watch down the hall, make sure nothing tries to sneak up on us.
Okay.
while we're waiting.
So you're keeping an eye in a room that almost seems to be lightly snowing. Bits of ash falling from the remnants of the fireball that Fig cast. And what about Thorgarn and Talmud?
Talmud is rifling through the other sarcophagi that are lining this room. You said there were like 8 of them, or no, like 6 of them?
There were 6, but you weren't able to get into the room.
Oh, this is still through that crack?
Yeah, this is the other side. You guys are back in the original room.
I thought that they were in one that had a single sarcophagi in it. I'm sorry.
Nope. You guys had
Okay,
a
cool.
chest in your room that you had already pilfered.
Yeah, if there's another door in here that like if Drown is watching one of them, then Talmud will watch a different one.
There's only the one.
Then Talmud is going to sit in a corner.
All right. Thorgarn, what about you?
So there's not really much that I can do. We got Talmud and Drown standing at the doorway. Or sorry, not Talmud at the doorway. We got Drown in the doorway. He's massive. Talmud goes off to the one side. Griveth has literally shoved his arm and is blocking anything from coming through the other way. And you've got, the other two in the room. There's not much that he can do. So he's actually going to take Forge Fame and, turn it into an anvil. And he's just going to sit and, pray with his hand on the anvil. He's got some thoughts that have come to me while we've been playing that I will discuss what this prayer session is about after the game, or whatnot. But I've got an idea of what I'd like to do at some point in time.
Okay.
That's what I'm wearing. That's what he is doing.
Cantriel and Fig, you're outside this door. Powerful scent of chat has told me that it's better to say that this room smells like an abattoir. Which this is the second time Em and I have encountered this term in recent role-playing sessions. And chat probably knows that because a lot of them were there for that game.
Curse of Strahd.
No, it was Call of Cthulhu.
I think Fig is going to put his hand on whatever handle or anything that is on the door and look to Cantriel. Should I open it?
Well, if we open it and there's something behind it, it's just you and me.
Come back. Come back.
I'm confident we could get away if need be.
Yeah, let's open the door.
Yeah, Fig's going to, with that,
The door's locked.
Fucker.
A smile crosses Griveth's face.
You can't. Can you see it though?
I mean,
I heard the clicking.
1, 2, 3. It's within 20 feet. It's just at the edge of Dawnbringer's light.
I'm gonna maximize Dawnbringer's light so it up to 30.
All right.
it is locked.
Of course it is. Well,
Don't you have to like swing the sword around, or is it just an action you can do?
As an action, you can reduce the light to 10 feet or increase it to 30 feet.
Oh, addition bleed.
Yeah.
well, I don't have the means to.
No,
pick a lock.
that's 5th edition rules.
No, in previous editions, you had to swing the
Oh.
sword around your
Oh,
head.
okay,
to-
yeah, I see what you're saying,
to
yeah.
generate the light out.
I got you.
It was a way. It was a way to make players look silly.
It was one of those like it was like one of those generator lights. You had to twirl it to. All right, so do either of you have lock picking kits or?
Nope.
Nah, it's totally from Thundar the Barbarian.
Fig's gonna try to break the door down, kick it.
Okay.
What
Sure.
are you doing?
We're kicking open the door. Let's do it together.
Oh my god. No,
Okay.
what?
Okay.
Ram
Count
the
to
door.
3.
So the doors, so far, all of the doors in here, with the exception of the vault doors that were melted away, are stone doors.
Stone.
But they're, from what you've seen, well, actually, this is the first door you've encountered, so you don't know how thick it is.
Hmm.
But I mean, it's a door, so sure, make an attack.
We just have to be stronger than the latch, not the
Yeah.
Go ahead and just make an attack roll. Add your strength modifier.
Okay.
Okay.
It's 6.
That's a hit. It's a door. It doesn't have a high AC.
I'm like, it is a door.
I got a 15.
Okay, so I'm not gonna make you sit here and keep rolling against it. You're pretty determined. It takes a couple of good solid hits, and you're able to break the latch loose and pull the 2-inch thick stone door open. Inside this room that you're looking in is quite large, actually. It is about a little over 30 feet across from east to west, and almost that much down to the south, with the one edge of the wall curling around or curving around because it's an exterior wall. But in this room, you see the source of the horrible stench of death. Everywhere you look in this room, humanoid bodies. Many of them long dead, almost mummified. Some of them not so recently or more recently dead. All of them looking slightly deflated. Cantriel,
Mm-hmm.
as you look into this scene of horror, you see a little bit of movement about 15 feet in the room. One of the bodies turns slightly. A hand reaches up towards you, and then the face turns towards you, and you see a human woman. She's blinking at the light that's spilling in. Have you come to finish me off then? She seems to be alive.
Depends on who started you.
What?
Like,
I think at that,
You're not one of them.
I think
Are
at that
you?
voice, Fig goes forward. He doesn't think about that. He's gonna go forward and he's going to try and get to this woman.
I'll come right up behind.
you come up to this woman, you see that she is lying as if just discarded in this place. Both of her legs are broken. One of her arms appears to be twisted at a weird angle. She's got cuts and bruises. She seems to be just barely hanging on. I thought for sure that if you were them, come to finish me off. How is it anybody is here? Who are you?
I'm Cantriel, and this is Fig.
My name is... She seems to think for a moment, as if it's a struggle to remember who she is. Yesha. Yesha Falcon. Of Dry Lake.
Yesha, how many did you come here with?
It was just me. I was in the area. I was just doing research, trying to see what was happening in this region. When they captured me.
Who's they?
Have you not seen the spawn?
Oh, we've seen them, yes. They're, at least the ones in the immediate area are not an issue right now.
I've been here, I don't know how long. They come, they go, they seem to pass over me each time. But what I've learned is not good for anyone. They are recent creations, these spawn of the vampire. Some vampire named Gothias. I know that name from my research, but supposedly he was destroyed long ago.
Not anymore,
But
unfortunately.
somehow he seems to have returned here, which is apparently was once his home.
Does she look like she could even feasibly be moved safely?
I mean, it doesn't take a medical check to look and see that moving her could possibly kill her. Look, she seems to look over both of you, and her eyes linger a bit longer on Fig. One being of mostly metallic construction, but also looking fly as hell in that that cape and the hat and everything else. Fig stands out very much, more so than an elven adventurer. But she just looks at you and she seems to suddenly talk faster, as if she knows she needs to get out what she has to say. They don't know that I hear them rambling on as they wander aimlessly to and fro in these halls. Gothias is obsessed with the worship of a dragon, the mythological Ashadalon. I didn't even think he was real. I think that Gothias may have once served the dragon before, long ago. But he and his followers, they worship him as a fanatic. He's spawning more and more vampires, trying to build up his cult. I don't know if he could ever raise enough to bring back this dragon if he's real, but he seems determined. If the spawn are if any truth could be heard in their ramblings, Gothias has harnessed some sort of powerful necromantic source here in the core of the tower.
Would Fig looking, would he be able to understand that she doesn't have long, that she's very, very injured?
I would say go ahead and make a medicine check.
All right, that is a 14.
A quick scan, you see what Cantriel could see, though you see it more with perhaps a bit of detached clinical observation. As you see the broken bones, the compound fractures, you see that not even, I mean, beyond that, the disease, the infection of being amongst all of these dead bodies of various states of decay. You were fortunate to find her when you did. It's unsure how long she has, but it's probably measured in minutes or hours.
So Fig is going to say, "Do not worry, we have friends who will help you." And Fig is going to cast Levitate on this person to try and even out the weight so that no pressure points are touched with the broken bones. And that if that means like getting out the other bodies, like so that she can lift up as seamlessly as possible, then that's what Fig would do.
Yeah, Cantriel would help move the bodies off of her.
Yeah, you would you could do that, moving everything out of the way. And I'm gonna say take a point of inspiration, because that was pretty clever. Using the magic to sort of spread across her body in a way that you sort of hit every point of her body at once, and she just sort of rises up. No extra pressure is anywhere. She's on this sort of magical cushion, and takes no damage from that.
Yeah, I imagine there's like these gears that almost like slip underneath the floor, it almost looks like, and lifts her up in like almost this, it almost looks like a gurney, almost like these wheels and these little this little mechanism. I would imagine that lifts her up and he wants to begin to move her very slowly and very carefully out.
All right. Yes. You can very carefully shift her out through the area. As Fig begins moving, or Cantriel, are you looking or doing anything else in this room, or are you leaving?
I'm leaving as well, just to make sure that she's not bumped into anything or anything of the sort.
All right. So you're able to move back into the light of Dawnbringer, spilling into this room with the sarcophagi. There's no way you're going to be able to get her through this crack. There is a door on the east wall.
It just wants to get her close enough to Griveth and just say, like, she needs help. She is alive. Can you do anything?
Switch your hands, Griveth. I have the light covered. And she'll just produce flame. Or not produce, but light, not produce flame. Different PC. Sorry, that's tomorrow night.
He is going to he's become a little bit jaded. So he is going to divine sense on her.
All right. What's the range on that? 60 feet? Or are you?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So
Celestial fiend undead within 60 feet.
So you're catching whiffs of undead sort of pinging below within range. But where she is, there's a void. There's no undead, fiendish, nothing is pinging.
Okay, what would Griveth have to do to bring her back from the door of death?
She mechanically, you could heal her. Potentially, you could heal her a few hit points, but she's so severely broken that she's going to require more specific assistance. She's little more than a commoner. She doesn't have, not to belittle her as a human, but she's not an adventurer. She doesn't
Mechanically, right.
She doesn't have a massive pool of health. She looks like she literally looks like a research student that got captured and
right.
she looks like she's been drained. So they may have even been feeding on her a bit. So
normal magical healing wouldn't save her.
I mean, it would save her in terms of you would bring her back from the brink of death, but she's still in pretty bad shape. She would require extensive magical or mundane healing, and still may never walk again properly.
Right.
Unless you wanted to. If you're determined to try to heal her as much as possible, you're not the only healer in the group, so healers could work together, and we can turn it into a bit of a skill challenge to see what you're able to do.
Yeah, I'm definitely willing to do that.
Yeah.
And
is that the sort of thing they can reasonably do through the crack in the wall, or do we have to get them to her somehow?
In order to be able to dedicate this kind of energy and focus, you're not going to be able to just do it reaching through the crack.
So I'm going. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll heal her to keep her hanging on. Not in so much pain until we can hook up and.
Just enough to a couple hit points to take the edge off.
Yeah.
Because you know that the real danger here is in the state she's in. If you just start dumping healing magic, you're going to heal her bones at all kinds of weird angles and.
Right. Because they're not set and everything.
Go ahead. The others of you, any of you, all of you, I don't care, can make an insight check.
Okay. It's a 13.
Drown is a 10.
11.
Muted, Scotty.
Sorry, I just muted myself. 17.
21 for Thorgarn.
Thorgarn and Griveth, thinking through where they are now and seeing everything, you realize that the door that is on the east wall of this room with the coffins is probably the door that was on the west wall in the very room that you dropped into when you first entered the spire. So you only have to backtrack through a couple of rooms and you can get to that door and enter this room with all the coffins.
Okay.
Or you could take her elsewhere if you wish.
I think we should all hook up. So let us backtrack and we'll come to you. I fill in the rest of the party what's going on and what happened, what they found, and what we're going to try to do.
All right, let's track around to the other door then.
All right. That's what we're doing.
Okay, no problem then. Because you were able to, two of you have kind of figured out that that's where it was. You backtrack through places you've already been. There's no other threats. And that door is not locked. So, what I need to know is who is going to participate in this attempt to treat this woman.
Who has the best medicine? I have plus 4.
I have +4 as well.
So, what we're going to do with this is anybody can participate that wants to. If you have, and you're going to tell me what skill you're going to use, and it can include if you have magical spells that'll work. And then based on what you described to me that you're doing, I will adjudicate that with some things, because obviously this whole thing we're just kind of winging it here. But
couple of questions. Do you have any concept about how long this whole endeavor might be taking? Because it looks like this might be an involved sort of thing we're getting into.
If you decide, I mean, that's a great question. That I think enough of you there, having sort of looking at what you're probably going to do, it's probably going to require a concentrated effort of close to an hour. If you are actively involved in the effort, you will not get the benefits of a rest.
Yeah, that makes sense.
If you don't help out specifically with it, then you could use that as a short rest.
Does it look like she has injuries that would need... I mean, it looks like she needs incredibly delicate treatment, right? Like, precise setting of bones, that sort of thing. It's not like they need to wrench her arm back into socket, that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, her legs are probably shattered.
Yeah. Drown is going to be way more of a liability than a help than in anything they might try to do with his -1 medicine. So he will just get out of the way and just kind of park himself over in a corner, put his back to solid stone, and just watch the entrances to make sure nothing comes at them while they're working. And we'll rest if we're not molested in that time.
All right, we'll just go around the horn then. Talmud, what are you going to do?
It's probably going to be bookends, Talmud and Drown. I imagine, because again, he's not going to be very helpful at all. So maybe he's going to sit down and sharpen his axe or something.
All right.
Keep an eye out.
The other 4 of you, I believe, all do have some form of magical healing. Will you all 4 be participating in the ritual?
Yes.
All right. There's not going to be any initiative rolls here. I'm using some basic skill challenge rules in mind here. This is mostly going to be narrative with some appropriate rolls. So I would like each of you, and we'll start with, I'll let the 4 of you decide how you want to do it. It's on the 4 of you. Start telling me what you want to do, and whoever wants to take control of the situation or what you want to do, and then I will tell you what to roll.
Can Cantriel contribute her Song of Rest?
Yes. And I will have you roll performance to assist in this ritual.
So actually that is something that I might be able to help with then, if you'll allow the help action for someone doing a task. Like as Drown is there and Cantriel begins playing a song, Drown will pull out his drum from his pack and accompany.
Okay, yeah.
Drums, so.
Very Sea of Thieves.
Yep. So I'll take the help action to give Cantriel advantage on her check to assist.
Excellent. I love it.
Cool.
And then so we'll figure out what everybody's gonna do, and then we'll see how the scene's gonna play out. Fig, you're the next closest one. What would you do?
I imagine that Fig has read many books in his quest to understand himself and his creator back when he didn't know what he was. I assume there was probably many anatomy books that he looked over. So I imagine that he has quite a somewhat of a technical knowledge. He's never done anything like this, but he has, and it doesn't compare in the application knowledge that Griveth and Thorgarn probably have. So he is going to, I would imagine he would be the person to take orders from them, and just flavor wise, I imagine him using all sorts of small little tools and gears that they need. Like if they need something to like brace her legs or whatever he would need, he would be kind of that person.
You will be using then you will be using either your history or your medicine. I'll let you decide on which one, since you're relying on your sort of read and acquired knowledge from what you did. You choose which of those two you're going to use.
Yeah, I do think history, because it just feels like, I feel like wisdom is more just that practical knowledge that he doesn't have any of. So
I read about this in a book once.
Yeah, basically.
Right. Okay.
I saw the pictures.
Thorgarn. Oh, sorry. Were you done?
Oh, I had my roll, so didn't know if you wanted to know that now.
Hold on to your rolls. Thorgarn, what are you gonna do?
So Ted is gonna gonna do something that Ted does. I want to enter a pun into here, but I'm tying it to what Thorgarn has as a background. Thorgarn went through a similar process where he was left for dead when he was going on this pilgrimage to become an actual cleric to Moradin, and he was forced to survive on his own in the wilderness, and he had to do different things to get himself back to health. He's gone through some of this. He's got some of those herb kits and that kind of stuff on him. So I would like to use survival, not only because I think I've got the practical knowledge, but it's also a good pun because we're trying to help her survive.
Okay. I will allow that.
Awesome.
Griveth, what will you be doing?
Griveth, as a soldier in his former life before the Angel of Eldath came and saved him from the desolation of the battlefield, he has seen horrendous, horrible wounds in war. So he's seen them set, and he knows that it's very painful to set wounds. So what he's going to do is he's going to use Griveth is going to kind of gauge the situation with Cantriel and her song. Like her song is I kind of feel is soothing this poor woman, but also distracting her in a certain way. So Griveth is kind of use his insight isn't always so great on himself, but he can see it in other people. So he's going to wait for that perfect moment to set the wound, to grab the broken limbs and crack them back into place. So yeah, that's what he's going to do, and try to kind of a burst of healing magic as he does that to kind of set the wound.
All right. So this feels like, and because you actually use this word, like there's going to be some insight involved in this to find those exact moments. So what I would like is to start off with Cantriel rolling with advantage. Cantriel will set the scene performing the Song of Rest.
Okay, I got a 23.
All right.
Okay. The treatment's been cold and bitter. It's chilled you to the bone, where everything you've seen them do hurt you all the more. It feels just like you're sinking, but you're safe on solid ground. No pull down by the undertow, no longer left to feel so alone. Behold, darkness will finally let you go. If all of the strength and all of our courage come and lift you from this place, I know you've been loved much better than this, full of grace, dear love.
Cantriel sings this song as Drown keeps a slow and steady beat. The drum not so much carrying far as it just seems to resonate in low tones as Fig, you begin figuring out where and how to start applying your practical learned knowledge. I'm actually going to have Thorgarn, I want to have you kind of get in here first with your survival to sort of understand what needs to be done to keep her stable. In a weird way, it's almost like you're the you're working with the I guess Cantriel and Drown are sort of like the anesthesiologists, and then you're sort of working in alongside as surgical assistant in here. So go ahead and make your survival roll.
I didn't like my first roll, so I would like to use a domain die.
It costs 100. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, 100. So my new roll is a 16.
Thorgarn, you're able to get in there and figure out, almost with one hand, I imagine, guiding Fig as he begins doing his work, figuring out where it's more important to work, and helping to keep her focused and distracted from what's happening, more focused on the attention. Fig, you begin setting into work.
I imagine that as Fig is working, he kind of starts to see the genius of his creator in that he created him very similar to the human form, and Fig starts to learn more and more that he was made very, very similar, and he used to do a lot of maintenance on himself, so he's just finds that knack for it, because he got a 23.
Excellent. You're able to get into the places where it's necessary to fuse bone. I imagine imbuing a bit of magical energy.
I'm wondering if you'll allow it for like just flavor sake. I'm wondering if he could he fixes stuff even by like soldering just like little rings of copper into the broken places and stuff, just like little bits of metal to help with the healing.
Yeah, I can see that with everything going on. Fig, you sort of have this as a nice addition to your healing magics. It's almost like you have this filament of solder that you're able to, as you're fusing bone under the skin, the smaller fragments, and bringing them in, you're setting them in that way that before the wounds are closed, you can see this sort of copper fusing these, filling in these cracks. Griveth, when it comes time to set some of these bigger bones, you need to figure out the precise moments to do so. So how's your insight roll?
All right, let's do this. I think I'm gonna use a domain die.
All right.
Okay, that's way better. 19.
All right. At certain moments during Cantriel's song, as Drown hits on a little more resonant note, working in concert, the four of you, literally in concert, the four of you, you just hit those exact moments, and she does cry out in pain, but she seems entranced by what is happening with the song, and you are also further dulling the pain as all of you are pouring a little bit of your healing magics in place. All of you rolled well enough to beat the DC that I set, that none of you are receiving exhaustion, and there's no negative effects from this. It does take you over an hour of concentrated effort, but because there's just this, in this dark place filled with death, with a room literally a few paces away full of death, this one person that was seemingly a few heartbeats away from death, this simple human woman who wandered astray, you fix her, you repair her, you knit her skin back together magically over the bones that you fused, and you've done so in a way that after an hour has passed by and the last notes of Cantriel's song fade, the last drum beat from Drown resonates, there's a moment where you all take a breath, seem to hold your breath. I imagine you just hear this sort of shh of Talmud sharpening his axe, and then maybe even a moment where Talmud stops in that silence, and then she opens her eyes and looks around at all of you. Hesitantly, she starts to sit up. She puts a hand down and pushes herself up and is able to stand on her newly fixed body. Though she does seem a bit wavery, and steadies herself against one of the sarcophagi and then sort of looks at it like,
Talmud is going to approach Drown and kind of quietly, just between the two of them. It's wonderful that they were able to mend her, but what are we going to do with her? We certainly can't take her.
And that is where we're going to end. That's like the perfect.
Fair.
I knew somebody had to be thinking that.
I was already thinking of it like, well.
I love that, Jeremy. I didn't mean to cut you off, but just the way that you said it in this great healing moment, and then you just go, it's really great that we fixed her, but what are we going to do with her?
Talmud is nothing if not pragmatic.
Right. That was a wonderful scene. I mean, I love the way that's where you guys wanted to go, was to fix her up. And I'm not gonna lie, there was a fraction of a moment, Fig, when you walked up there, I thought you were just gonna put her out of her misery. Maybe it's because we were playing Call of Cthulhu together recently.
Cantriel would have if Fig hadn't started levitating her.
Oh, Cantriel would have been the one to do it.
I think Fig would have done that if he had been taught differently by the Dawnbringers.
Maybe the Fig of a few months ago might have done that. So, yeah, I know this was one of those weird sessions where it did turn out to be mostly combat, but you got a little more exploration, and I think that this is one of my favorite scenes with the Dawnbringers, seeing everybody come together and sort of work together to rescue a lost woman that was in the wrong place at the wrong time. But yeah, we will come back next week and we'll figure out what the heck the Dawnbringers are going to do with I'll give you guys her name.
Isha from Dry Lake.
Yesha it was Falk something. Falcon. Yesha Falcon. And you annotated that you have a magical ring, Cantriel, that you don't know what it does. Who, by the way, has somebody took the in that chest you found what looked like a knight, but it was sort of elongated, flat. It was a little like a long 8-inch long statuette of a knight. Who took that? Because you took the blood.
It was like a flat relief, right?
Right. I just don't remember who has it. Somebody needs to annotate that so you don't forget that you have it.
I have it written down in our party pot sheet.
Okay.
But, I don't know who's actually carrying it currently.
All right. Well, it is getting on in time, but I definitely wanted to let that beautiful scene play out. Thank you to everybody who tuned in tonight. This was one of those nights where I was balancing a lot with the combat and everything and trying to make sure the stream was running while it was glitching. So I didn't see a lot of what was going on in chat, except that you were all chatting. At one point, I think somebody said this turned into a musical episode of ER. So I'll take that as a compliment. I think we should all take that as a compliment. Though I prefer Scrubs for my medical shows. But thank you so much to everybody who tuned in with us tonight. We love seeing you all here every week. And of course, thank you to the handful of people who subscribed or resubscribed. I know Tamiko gave out a subscription to somebody. There were a couple of individuals who cheered some bits to earn you domain dice. So thank you to everybody. You can type !schedule in the chat, and that will tell you the full schedule. Also, the off-air stream screen tells you our schedule as well. But I don't believe it accounts for the fact that tomorrow night you will find myself and V as players playing a Turtle and a Tabaxi. You'll have to tune in tomorrow to see which is which. As Ted is our game master in the RPG Crate campaign that we are sponsored game that we play over on the Nerdarchy channel, and that will actually be on the new Nerdarchy Live channel. So everybody do me a favor, head over to the new Nerdarchy Live channel and subscribe to it. That's where all their live content is going to be, and that's where you can find V and Ted and I every month, along with Asa and Megan R. Miller, playing in that game. And then, yeah, our schedule picks up again on Sunday. So, again, thank you to everybody in chat. We love you all so much. A huge thank you, as always, to Scotty, Dan, V, M, Ted, and Jeremy, without whom I would just be sitting here talking to myself for 3 hours. With that, we are going to end the stream the same way we end every stream, and you can say it with me if you want.
Matilda. V was muted.
Oh, was it?